What devastating tragedy at your child's school was easily preventable? The sound of splintering would still echoes in my nightmares 3 weeks later. Metal screws spinning through the air like bullets. The collective gasp of 200 children as gravity claimed what the Millbrook Elementary safety inspection should have caught 9 months ago. I'm Dr. Sarah Chan, and I've been principal here for 6 years. Long enough to know that when you hear that particular crack, the one that says a structural element has finally surrendered, you have exactly 2 seconds before chaos erupts. Emma Rodriguez, 7 years old, pigtails bouncing as she gripped the second-floor staircase railing during our October fire drill. The railing I've been screaming about since February. The same railing that facilities manager Dennis Kowalski dismissed in his March 15 email as cosmetic concerns from an overly anxious administrator. His actual words, buried in my inbox like evidence: Sarah needs to stop getting hysterical about every little wobble. These railings have been here since 1987. They're not going anywhere. Emma went down 12 concrete steps when that 37-year-old railing ripped clean from the wall. Along with Marcus Thompson and little Zoe Kim, who tried to grab Emma as she fell. 3 second graders, 3 ambulances, 2 broken arms, 1 concussion, and 17 stitches between them. The wobble I documented with photos on February 8th. The loose bolts I'd circled in red on my March 2nd maintenance request. The $847 repair estimate that Dennis rejected on March 18th because budget constraints require us to prioritize actual emergencies, not potential problems. I have every email. Every ignored phone call logged with timestamps. Every photograph date stamped and backed up in 3 locations. But here's what really makes my blood boil, what transformed me from a cooperative team player into someone willing to burn this whole corrupt system down. Yesterday's emergency school board meeting, where Superintendent Margaret Walsh looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dr. Chen, we need to discuss your failure to adequately communicate the severity of this safety issue." My failure. Dennis Kowalski sat 3 seats down from me, silent as a stone, while Walsh continued her character assassination. The board has concerns about your judgment and decision-making process. Perhaps a less demanding position would be more suitable. 22 years in education. A doctorate from Northwestern. Principal of the Year in 2019. And they want to shuffle me off to some administrative closet because their golden boy Dennis, who makes $89,000 a year to ignore safety hazards, finally got caught. I watched Dennis smirk when Walsh mentioned early retirement packages and mutual agreements to part ways. Watched board member Richard Steinberg nod along like a bobblehead, even though his construction company has been getting no-bid contracts from the district for 5 years running. Watched them close ranks to protect their boys' club while throwing me under the bus. They think I'll go quietly. Take their hush money and disappear. They're wrong. I've got 847 pages of documentation sitting in my kitchen right now. Every email Dennis ignored. Every repair he deemed unnecessary. Every time he called me emotional or paranoid or told me to calm down. 8 months of breadcrumbs leading directly to October 23rd, 2:17 p.m., when physics finally caught up with negligence. My phone has been buzzing all morning. Local news stations, the Tribune, even Channel 9's investigative team. They smell blood in the water, and they should. Because tomorrow, I'm going to feed them everything. The manila envelope arrived at my office this morning with no return address, postmarked yesterday at 4:47 p.m. from the downtown postal facility. Inside, a single sheet of district letterhead dated 3 days after the accident, with Superintendent Walsh's signature at the bottom. Incident report, preliminary findings. Principal Chen failed to follow established protocols for emergency maintenance requests. Investigation shows pattern of inadequate documentation and failure to escalate critical safety concerns through proper channels. My hands are shaking as I read it. They backdated this thing. Walsh's signature is on a document that paints me as incompetent, reckless, negligent, every adjective they'll need when they hang me out to dry. But here's what makes me want to throw my coffee mug through the window. I never saw this report. It was filed without my knowledge, without my input, without even giving me a chance to respond. Someone on the inside sent this to me. Someone who knows what they're planning. I'm photographing every page when my secretary, Mrs. Patterson, pokes her head through my door. "Dr. Chen? There's a gentleman here from the district's legal department. Says it's urgent." Perfect timing. I slide the report into my desk drawer and check my phone, 9:23 a.m. The Tribune reporter isn't supposed to call until noon. The man who walks into my office looks like he was ordered from Corporate Intimidation 101. Gray suit, dead eyes, briefcase that probably costs more than most teachers make in a month. "Dr. Chen, I'm Michael Garrison, Assistant Counsel for Millbrook District. I'm here regarding the October 23rd incident and your upcoming media obligations." Media obligations. Interesting choice of words. I don't have any media obligations, Mr. Garrison. He opens his briefcase with surgical precision. "We have information suggesting you've been in contact with several news outlets. The district wants to remind you of your contractual confidentiality agreements and the potential consequences of sharing privileged information." There it is. The threat wrapped in legalese. Are you telling me I can't talk to reporters? I'm telling you that sharing internal communications, maintenance records, or personnel information could constitute breach of contract. The district is prepared to pursue all available remedies, including termination for cause and recovery of pension benefits. My pension. 22 years of contributions, matching funds, my entire retirement security. They're not just threatening my job, they're threatening my future. Garrison slides a document across my desk. Non-disclosure agreement. Sign it today, and the district is prepared to offer a generous severance package. Refuse, and will be forced to pursue alternative measures. I don't touch the paper. How generous? 18 months salary. Full benefits through next year. Positive references for future employment opportunities. $127,000 to disappear quietly. To let Dennis Kowalski keep collecting his paycheck while Emma Rodriguez learns to write left-handed because her right arm still isn't healing properly. I need time to think. You have until 5 p.m. today. Garrison snaps his briefcase shut. After that, the offer expires and the district moves forward with termination proceedings. The second he leaves, I'm dialing my phone. The Tribune can wait. I need someone with bigger teeth. Channel 9 investigates. This is Rebecca Martinez. Ms. Martinez, this is Dr. Sarah Chen from Millbrook Elementary. I believe we spoke yesterday about the staircase incident. Dr. Chen, yes. Are you ready to go on record? I look at Garrison's and signed NDA sitting on my desk like a loaded gun. At the secret incident report in my drawer. At the photo on my wall from last year's graduation ceremony, 43 smiling 8-year-olds who trusted me to keep them safe. How quickly can you get a camera crew here? Rebecca Martinez arrives with a camera crew 47 minutes later, but they're not alone. As I watch from my office window, I count 3 news vans pulling into the faculty parking lot. Word travels fast in this business. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. Mrs. Patterson gave up trying to screen calls 20 minutes ago and just started taking messages. The stack of pink slips on my desk looks like confetti, Channel 7, The Herald, some podcast I've never heard of, and 2 reporters from the state capitol. But it's the black Suburban that pulls up behind the news vans that makes my stomach clench. Tinted windows, municipal plates. Dennis Kowalski steps out of the passenger seat, followed by Superintendent Walsh herself. They're 30 minutes early for our scheduled 2 p.m. crisis management meeting. This is about to get ugly. I'm sliding Garrison's NDA into my safe when Mrs. Patterson's voice crackles over the intercom. Dr. Chen, Superintendent Walsh is here. She says she needs to see you immediately. Tell her I'm in an interview. She can wait. She's not waiting. She's walking this way with Mr. Kowalski and 2 other men I don't recognize. Security. They brought security to my own school. Rebecca Martinez is setting up her camera in my office when Walsh barges through the door without knocking. Her face is flushed, and there's a vein pulsing in her forehead that I've never seen before. Dr. Chen, you need to stop this right now. Superintendent Walsh. I don't stand up. Don't give her the satisfaction. I don't believe we're scheduled to meet until 2 o'clock. Cancel the interview. Send these people away. Rebecca steps forward, camera still rolling. Superintendent Walsh, I'm Rebecca Martinez with Channel 9 Investigates. Would you care to comment on the district's handling of the safety violations that led to? Turn that camera off. Walsh's voice could cut glass. This is district property. You don't have permission to film here. Actually, I say, surprised by how calm I sound, as building principal, I gave them permission. This is still my school. Dennis Kowalski speaks for the first time since entering my office, not for much longer. The words hang in the air like smoke. Rebecca's cameraman swings his lens toward Dennis, and I can practically see him calculating whether this footage is worth a lawsuit. Mr. Kowalski, Rebecca says, you're the facilities manager who rejected multiple repair requests for the staircase railing, correct? Dennis starts to answer, but Walsh cuts him off. We're not commenting on ongoing investigations. Dr. Chen, you have exactly 30 seconds to end this circus, or we're calling security. You already brought security. I nod toward the 2 men lurking in my doorway. What's the plan, Margaret? Drag me out in handcuffs while the cameras roll? Walsh's face goes white. She's realizing what I figured out 20 minutes ago. They can't stop this without making it 10 times worse. My desk phone rings. Mrs. Patterson's voice, Dr. Chen, there's a woman on line 3 who says she's from the State Department of Education. She says it's about a formal complaint filed against the district this morning. The silence in my office is deafening. Walsh and Dennis exchange a look that tells me everything I need to know. They didn't expect this to escalate beyond local news. Put her through, I say, reaching for the phone. Don't answer that, Walsh snaps. I pick up the receiver anyway. This is Dr. Chen. Dr. Chen, this is Inspector Janet Rodriguez with the State Department of Education. We've received a formal complaint regarding safety violations and potential cover-up activities in your district. We're opening an immediate investigation. Rodriguez. As in Emma Rodriguez's mother. The mother of the little girl with 2 pins in her right arm just filed a state complaint. Walsh is staring at me like I've grown a second head, but I'm staring at Dennis, whose face has gone completely gray. Because he knows what I know, this isn't just about money anymore. It's about criminal negligence. Dr. Chen, Inspector Rodriguez continues, her voice cutting through the shocked silence in my office. We'll need to conduct interviews with all relevant personnel, starting this afternoon. Can you remain available? Of course, I say, watching Dennis Kowalski's Adam's apple bob like a fishing lure. I have extensive documentation ready for your review. Walsh lunges for my phone, but I'm already hanging up. Rebecca's camera catches the whole thing, the superintendent of Millbrook District literally trying to cut off communication with state investigators. That was beautiful, Rebecca murmurs to her cameraman. Please tell me you got that. Every second, he replies. Dennis finally finds his voice. Sarah, you don't understand what you're doing. This affects everyone. The whole district could. Could what? Face consequences for putting children at risk? I pull out my desk drawer and retrieve the secret incident report. Speaking of consequences, Dennis, want to explain this? I hold up the backdated document for the camera. Walsh's face cycles through confusion, recognition, then pure rage in about 3 seconds. Where did you get that? Her voice is barely a whisper. Someone with a conscience slipped it to me. Amazing what people will do when they realize you're throwing innocent people under the bus. My computer chimes with an email notification. Then another. Then 5 more in rapid succession. Mrs. Patterson's voice over the intercom. Dr. Chen, your email is going crazy out here. And there's a man from the Tribune at the front desk. I click open my inbox. The first email makes my heart skip. Dr. Chen, I'm Robert Kim, Zoe's father, and a civil rights attorney with Morrison, Sterling and Associates. I represent the families of all 3 injured children. We're filing federal civil rights violations against the district under Section 1983. The patterns of discrimination and deliberate indifference we've uncovered go far beyond your situation. Can we meet today? Robert Kim, ESQ. Federal civil rights violations. This just became a federal case. The second email is even better. Sarah Dennis has been cooking the books on maintenance contracts for years. I kept copies of everything. We need to talk. Meet me at Rosario's Diner on 5th Street at 6 p.m. Come alone. MP. MP has to be Mike Patterson, the assistant facilities manager Dennis fired last month for insubordination. Mrs. Patterson's son. The same Mike who tried to warn me about Dennis back in March. Walsh is reading over my shoulder, her face turning the color of old newspaper. Dr. Chen, step away from that computer immediately. I don't think so. I keep scrolling. Email number 3 is from the State Attorney General's office. Email 4 from someone at the FBI's white-collar crime unit. Dennis makes a grab for my keyboard, but Rebecca's cameraman is right there, documenting his increasingly desperate behavior. This is insane, Dennis sputters. Sarah, we can work this out. The repair estimate was only $847. This is all over $800. $847, I correct him. Plus the follow-up estimates for $1,200 in June, $1,890 in August, and $2,400 in September when the damage kept spreading. You ignored $6,337 in repair requests to save money. How do you? Dennis stops himself, but it's too late. Have exact figures? Because unlike you, I actually do my job. Walsh grabs Dennis by the arm. We're leaving. Now. Actually, Rebecca interrupts. Before you go, Superintendent Walsh, I have one more question. Our investigation shows that Dennis Kowalski's brother-in-law owns Pinnacle Construction, which has received over $2.3 million in no-bid contracts from your district in the past 3 years. Any comment? The 2 security guards step forward, but Walsh waves them off. She knows how this looks. No comment. And this interview is over. They retreat like a defeated army, leaving me alone with Rebecca and her camera crew. Outside my window, I can see more news vans arriving. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. They're planning to lock you out tonight. Change all your passwords and make copies of everything. Friend inside. The war just officially began. By 4:30 p.m., my office looks like a war room. Rebecca Martinez and her crew left 20 minutes ago with enough footage to end careers, but not before helping me photograph every document in my files. The state inspector isn't due until tomorrow morning, but I can't shake the feeling that tonight might be my last chance to secure everything. Mrs. Patterson knocks and enters without waiting for permission, something she's never done in 6 years. Dr. Chen, I need to tell you something. Her voice is shaking. Mike called me. My son? He says Dennis and Walsh are meeting with the school board in emergency session at 7 p.m. tonight. They're voting to terminate you for cause and seize all district property in your possession. My stomach drops. They can't do that without due process. They can if they claim you're destroying evidence or violating confidentiality agreements. She sits down heavily. Mike also said, he said Dennis has been skimming money from the maintenance budget for 3 years. Not just ignoring repairs, actually billing for work that was never done and pocketing the difference. I stare at her. How much money? Over $180,000. The room spins slightly. This isn't just negligence anymore. It's embezzlement. Mrs. Patterson, I need you to go home. Right now. If they're coming after me tonight, I don't want you caught in the crossfire. I'm not leaving you here alone. Yes, you are. That's an order. I grab my laptop bag and start shoving documents inside. But first, I need you to email me every maintenance request, every work order, and every budget report you can access from your computer. Send it to my personal email, not the district account. She nods and hurries out. I have maybe 2 hours before they show up with security and a locksmith. My phone rings, Mike Patterson's number. Dr. Chen? We need to move our meeting up. They know I've been talking to people. Can you meet me now? Where are you? Parking lot behind the old Kmart on Route 9. I've got boxes of documents that Dennis doesn't know I copied. But if they fire me officially tonight, I'll lose my whistleblower protections. I'm already grabbing my keys. I'll be there in 15 minutes. The drive takes 12 minutes of calculated speeding through back streets. Mike Patterson is waiting next to a rusted Honda Civic, 3 cardboard boxes at his feet. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. Dr. Chen, thank God. Look, I know you're taking a huge risk trusting me, but Dennis has been running a scam since 2019. He opens the first box. Fake invoices, inflated labor costs, repairs that were never done. He's been splitting the money with Richard Steinberg's construction company. Richard Steinberg. School board member Richard Steinberg. Mike, this is huge. Why didn't you report it earlier? I tried. I went to Walsh in February, right around the time you started complaining about that railing. She told me I was misunderstanding standard procurement procedures and that making false accusations could end my career. I start photographing documents with my phone. Invoice after invoice for work that was never completed. Purchase orders for materials that were never delivered. A paper trail of systematic theft stretching back 3 years. There's more, Mike says, opening the second box. Dennis kept records of everything. I think he was planning to blackmail the board if they ever tried to fire him. Email printouts, meeting transcripts, even audio recordings on old cassette tapes. My hands are shaking as I rifle through them. Mike, we need to get this to the FBI tonight. And we need copies stored somewhere safe. Already done. My girlfriend's a paralegal at Morrison, Sterling and Associates, Robert Kim's firm. She's been digitizing everything since I got fired. Robert Kim. Zoe's father. The civil rights attorney who emailed me this afternoon. Everything is connected. Dennis's embezzlement, the ignored safety repairs, Walsh's cover-up attempt, Steinberg's construction contracts. It's all part of the same corrupt system that nearly killed 3 children. My phone buzzes with a text. Emergency board meeting moved to 6 p.m. They're coming for you in 1 hour. Friend inside. Mike, we're out of time. Help me load these boxes in my car. We're loading the 3rd box when Mike's phone starts buzzing frantically. He glances at the screen and goes pale. It's my mom. She says Walsh and 2 security guards just showed up at the school looking for you. They have a locksmith. 6:23 p.m. The emergency board meeting isn't supposed to start for another 37 minutes, but they're already moving to lock me out. I slam my trunk shut and pull out my phone. Rebecca? It's Sarah Chen. How fast can you get back to Millbrook Elementary with a camera? I'm 20 minutes out. What's happening? They're breaking into my office right now. If you hurry, you can catch them destroying evidence on live television. While Rebecca races back, I'm speed dialing Robert Kim's number from his afternoon email. He answers on the first ring. Mr. Kim, this is Sarah Chin. Your colleague Mike Patterson just handed me boxes of evidence showing systematic embezzlement by the facility's manager. But the school board is voting to fire me in 30 minutes, and they're already breaking into my office. Where are you right now? Route 9, behind the old Kmart. Stay there. I'm sending a federal marshal to secure those documents. Under no circumstances should you return to school property tonight. Federal marshal. My hands start shaking again. Mr. Kim, how did this become a federal case so quickly? Because Dennis Kowalski's embezzlement scheme used federal Title I funds designated for low-income schools. That makes it wire fraud. And the systematic discrimination against your safety concerns, dismissing them as female hysteria while ignoring legitimate hazards, that's a Section 1983 civil rights violation. Mike is staring at me with wide eyes. I put the call on speaker. Mr. Kim, this is Mike Patterson. I've been documenting Dennis's activities for 8 months. There's something else Dr. Chen doesn't know yet. My stomach clenches. What? The $180,000 in skimmed funds? That's just from the elementary school. Dennis has been running the same scam at Jefferson Middle School and Roosevelt High. We're looking at over $500,000 in stolen federal money. The line goes quiet for a long moment. Then Robert Kim's voice, deadly serious. Mike, I need you to repeat that statement to the FBI agent who's about to call you. Dr. Chen, under federal whistleblower protections, they cannot terminate you while you're cooperating with an investigation. But you need to formally file your complaint tonight. A black SUV pulls into the parking lot. Not the federal marshal, this one has Millbrook District plates. Dennis Kowalski steps out of the driver's seat, alone this time, and starts walking toward us. Mr. Kim, Dennis just showed up. I think he followed us. Get out of there. Now. Meet the federal marshal at the courthouse in 20 minutes. And Dr. Chen? Don't let Dennis anywhere near those documents. I hang up and grab Mike's arm. We're leaving. Separate cars. But Dennis is jogging now, and he's between us and the main road. Mike jumps into his Honda while I fumble with my keys. Dennis reaches my car just as I get the door open. Sarah, wait. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you, Dennis. You don't understand. Walsh is making me the fall guy for everything. She knew about the safety issues from day one and told me to ignore them. I have recordings. I freeze with one foot in my car. Recordings? Every conversation since March. I've been protecting myself because I knew something like this would happen. Dennis pulls out his phone. Walsh ordering me to delay repairs. Steinberg demanding kickbacks. The whole conspiracy. Mike's Honda peels out of the parking lot, leaving me alone with Dennis in the growing darkness. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Rebecca Martinez and a text, FBI agent en route to your location. Do not leave. Dennis, if you have evidence of Walsh's involvement, you need to turn it over to the authorities. That's what I'm trying to do. He looks genuinely panicked now. But they're moving too fast. The board vote tonight isn't just about firing you, they're voting to make me the sole responsible party for everything. Complete scapegoat. The irony would be funny if 3 children weren't lying in hospital beds. So now you want my help? I want to make this right. Look, I know I screwed up with the safety repairs. I know I called you hysterical and ignored your requests. But I was following orders from Walsh, and I can prove it. Red and blue lights appear in the distance. Not the FBI, local police, probably called by Walsh to report us for trespassing or theft of district property. Dennis, if you're serious about making this right, you need to tell the FBI everything. Tonight. Only if you don't throw me under the bus for the embezzlement charges. I can't make that deal. But I can tell them you cooperated voluntarily. The police car pulls into the parking lot just as a second black SUV arrives, this one with federal plates. 2 men in suits step out, and one of them is holding a badge. Dennis looks at me, then at the FBI agents, then back at me. Sarah, I need you to know, Emma Rodriguez's fall? That wasn't an accident waiting to happen. Walsh specifically told me to delay that repair until after the budget review in November. She said the optics of spending money on maintenance would hurt the district's funding request. My blood turns to ice. She deliberately endangered children for better optics? I have it on tape. The FBI agent approaches us. Dr. Chen? Agent Rodriguez, Federal Bureau of Investigation. I believe you have some documents for us. Agent Rodriguez. Emma's uncle. This just became personal. The federal courthouse at 11:47 p.m. looks like something from a crime thriller, harsh fluorescent lights, empty hallways echoing with footsteps, and the kind of institutional carpet that's seen too many plea bargains. Agent Rodriguez escorts me to conference room C, where Dennis sits across from 2 FBI agents, a stack of cassette tapes between them like evidence in a murder trial. Dr. Chen, Agent Rodriguez says, Mr. Kowalski has agreed to full cooperation in exchange for consideration during sentencing. He's been playing some interesting recordings. Dennis won't meet my eyes as Agent Martinez, no relation to Rebecca from Channel 9, hits play on an old cassette recorder. Walsh's voice fills the room, crystal clear. Dennis, I don't want to see another penny spent on building maintenance until after the November funding vote. The board needs to show fiscal restraint to justify our budget increase request. But Margaret, Dr. Chen is saying the staircase railing is a serious safety issue. Sarah Chen sees safety issues in burnt-out light bulbs. Tell her the repair is scheduled for December and make her stop calling my office. The timestamp on the recording, March 22nd. 3 days after my final written request for the staircase repair. Agent Martinez stops the tape. Mr. Kowalski has 17 more recordings spanning 8 months. Superintendent Walsh systematically ordered delays on safety repairs across all 3 schools in your district. My hands are shaking as I process this. She deliberately created hazardous conditions to make the budget look better. It gets worse, Dennis says quietly. Play the August 15th recording. Agent Martinez fast forwards to another section. Walsh's voice again, but this time she's talking to someone else, a man with a gravelly voice I recognize as Richard Steinberg. The Chin situation is becoming problematic, Richard. She's documenting everything and copying the state on her reports. Can you transfer her? Get her out of the building? Not without cause. But if something happens, an accident, equipment failure, we can use it to show she was negligent in her safety oversight. My stomach lurches. They were planning to frame me from the beginning. Agent Rodriguez nods grimly. That's conspiracy to violate civil rights under color of law. Federal felony carrying up to 10 years. Dennis finally looks up at me. Sarah, there's something else. The reason Walsh was so desperate to delay maintenance costs? The district's been using federal Title I funds as a slush fund for personal expenses. Walsh approved $47,000 in educational consulting payments to her husband's company last year. Steinberg's construction contracts were overinflated by 300% with the excess going back to board members as consulting fees. Agent Martinez pulls out a legal pad covered in notes. Mr. Kowalski, you mentioned earlier that other district employees have evidence? Mike Patterson has copies of everything. But there's also Janet Morrison in the business office. She's been documenting the fraudulent payments for 2 years, waiting for someone to listen. And Dr. Williams at Roosevelt High has been dealing with the same safety issues and gender discrimination that Sarah faced. I lean forward. Dr. Williams? Patricia Williams? Walsh has been calling her concerns menopausal overreaction since 2020. Pat has documented 17 ignored safety requests, including a gas leak in the chemistry lab that took 4 months to repair. The scope of this conspiracy is staggering. This isn't just about my situation, it's a systematic pattern of corruption and discrimination affecting the entire district. Agent Rodriguez checks his watch, 12:23 a.m. Dr. Chen, the emergency board meeting ended 3 hours ago. They voted to terminate you for cause, effective immediately. But under federal whistleblower protection, that termination is void. What does that mean practically? It means you're still the principal of Millbrook Elementary as of right now. And tomorrow morning, you're going to walk back into that building with a federal court order reinstating you to full authority. Dennis stares at me with something that might be respect. Sarah, I'm sorry. For all of it. The dismissive comments, ignoring your requests, letting those kids get hurt when we could have prevented it. I look at this man who called my legitimate safety concerns female hysteria for 8 months, whose negligence put 3 children in the hospital, who stole federal money meant to help disadvantaged students. Dennis, your apology doesn't fix Emma Rodriguez's arm. But your testimony might prevent this from happening to other children. Agent Martinez closes his notepad. We'll be executing search warrants on all district offices at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Dr. Chen, we'll need you there to identify documents and provide access to secured areas. I'm going back to Millbrook Elementary in 5 hours. Not as a disgraced ex-principal, but as a federal witness with the power to unlock every dirty secret this corrupt system has been hiding. Walsh and Steinberg have no idea what's coming for them. The federal courthouse parking lot at 5:47 a.m. looks like a staging area for a military operation. 6 black SUVs, 2 news vans that somehow got wind of the early morning raids, and Agent Rodriguez checking his watch while speaking into a radio headset. I'm sitting in the passenger seat of an unmarked car, watching my breath fog the windows in the October dawn, when my phone starts buzzing. Mrs. Patterson's number. Dr. Chen? Thank God you're okay. I've been at the school since 4 a.m. They changed all the locks last night, but maintenance forgot about the service entrance I have keys to. Her voice is rushed, excited. I've been printing everything I could access before they locked me out of the computer system. Mrs. Patterson, you shouldn't be there alone. I'm not alone. Mike is here, and so is Janet Morrison from the business office. We've been running the copier nonstop for 2 hours. She pauses. Sarah, Janet found something big. The fraudulent payments Dennis mentioned? They go back 5 years, not 3. And there's a whole separate set of books that Walsh keeps in her personal safe. Agent Rodriguez looks over at me, eyebrows raised. I put the call on speaker. Mrs. Patterson, this is Agent Rodriguez with the FBI. Ma'am, you need to stop what you're doing immediately and exit the building. We're executing search warrants in 10 minutes. Agent Rodriguez, with respect, if we leave now, Walsh will be here in 30 minutes destroying everything she can get her hands on. Janet says the safe combination is Walsh's daughter's birthday. She's seen her open it dozens of times. My heart stops. Mrs. Patterson, absolutely not. Do not attempt to. We already did. Janet Morrison's voice comes through the phone, breathless. We've got ledgers dating back to 2018 showing systematic embezzlement of federal funds, state grants, and even money from the school lunch program. They've stolen over $1.2 million. Agent Martinez grabs his radio. All units, we need to move now. Witnesses are inside the building securing evidence. The convoy of federal vehicles screams out of the courthouse parking lot like something from an action movie. Agent Rodriguez is on his phone coordinating with the district attorney while I'm texting Mrs. Patterson, get out now. FBI 2 minutes away. But as we round the corner onto School Street, I see Walsh's silver Mercedes already in the principal's parking space. She beat us here. Agent Rodriguez, Walsh is already inside. Copy that. All units, suspect may be destroying evidence. Move fast. We pull up to Millbrook Elementary just as Walsh emerges from the main entrance carrying a cardboard box and a laptop bag. She sees the FBI vehicles and freezes like a deer in headlights, still holding what's obviously evidence she was trying to remove. Agent Martinez is out of his car before it fully stops. Margaret Walsh, FBI. Stop right there and put down the box. Walsh looks at the agents, then at me stepping out of the federal car, then at the news cameras already rolling. I watch her face cycle through shock, rage, and finally, defeated calculation. I want my lawyer, she says, setting down the box. That's your right. But first, we need to secure these premises. Agent Rodriguez pulls out a folded document. Federal search warrant for all Millbrook District properties and records. Mrs. Patterson appears in the school doorway, arms full of papers, with Janet Morrison and Mike Patterson right behind her. They look like they've been running a resistance operation all night. Dr. Chen. Mrs. Patterson calls out. Janet cracked the second safe too. The one in Steinberg's office at the district building. We found purchase orders for construction work that was never done, dating back to 2017. Walsh's face goes completely white. That's impossible. Richard's office isn't even, she catches herself, but it's too late. Agent Martinez smiles grimly. Isn't even what, Superintendent Walsh? Isn't even supposed to have a safe? Isn't even supposed to contain district financial records? The news cameras are capturing every word. Walsh just admitted knowledge of financial records stored improperly off-site, which suggests she knew about the corruption all along. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca Martinez, live breaking news in 10 minutes. The whole state is watching. This isn't just about Millbrook anymore. This is about to become a statewide scandal. And we're just getting started. At 6:43 a.m., Agent Rodriguez escorts me through the doors of my own school for the first time in 18 hours. The hallways smell like industrial disinfectant and betrayal. Walsh is being processed in the main office while two agents catalog the contents of the box she tried to steal, financial records, computer drives, and what looks like a burner phone. Dr. Chen, Agent Martinez approaches with an evidence bag. Recognize this? Inside the clear plastic is a manila folder labeled Chen, performance issues in Walsh's handwriting. My blood runs cold as I see the fabricated documents through the bag, incident reports I never filed, performance evaluations I never received, disciplinary actions that never happened. She was building a fake paper trail, I breathe. How long has she been planning this? According to the timestamps on these documents, since March. Right after you started escalating your safety concerns. He flips the evidence bag over. But here's the interesting part, she made a mistake. The bottom document is a memo allegedly from me to Walsh, dated March 10th, apologizing for overreacting about the staircase railing and requesting to withdraw my maintenance concerns. The header shows it was printed on March 9th, the day before it was supposedly written, and 3 days before I even sent my first official repair request. She's not very good at this, Agent Martinez observes. My phone rings, Rebecca Martinez from Channel 9. Dr. Chen, we're going live in 2 minutes. The story is breaking statewide. Can you confirm that federal agents have arrested Superintendent Walsh? I look through the office windows where Walsh sits in handcuffs, her usually perfect hair disheveled, her power suit wrinkled from a night of evidence destruction. I can confirm that federal agents are executing search warrants at all district properties. Dr. Chen, we've been contacted by parents and staff from 17 other school districts across the state. They're reporting similar patterns of ignored safety concerns and gender-based dismissal of female administrators. This appears to be part of a much larger problem. 17 districts. My hands start shaking. This isn't an isolated case of corruption, it's systematic. Janet Morrison appears at my elbow, holding a thick folder. Dr. Chen, you need to see this. Walsh kept detailed records of something called Operation Clean House. I open the folder and immediately wish I hadn't. It's a list of female administrators across the region, with notes about their management styles and tendency toward overreaction. My name is at the top, with a timeline detailing how to document performance issues leading to justified termination. Dr. Patricia Williams from Roosevelt High is second on the list. Dr. Monica Santos from Jefferson Middle School is third. 15 names total, all women, all marked for removal. Agent Rodriguez, I call out, my voice cracking slightly. This is bigger than financial fraud. They've been systematically targeting female administrators who report safety issues. He takes the folder and flips through it, his expression darkening with each page. Dr. Chen, this is a federal civil rights conspiracy. We're looking at RICO violations now. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Dr. Chen, this is Patricia Williams. I've been documenting everything for 3 years. When can we meet? The parents at Roosevelt are organizing. We're not letting them bury this. Another text, different number, Monica Santos here. Jefferson families want answers. Our maintenance budget was cut 40% while Steinberg's company got $300,000 in no-bid contracts. Something stinks. And another, this is Karen Liu, principal at Oakwood Elementary in Fairfield District. Saw the news. Same thing happened here last year. They forced out 3 female principals after we reported safety violations. I have documentation. Agent Rodriguez reads over my shoulder. Dr. Chen, your case just became the tip of the iceberg. We're going to need a bigger task force. Through the office window, I watch Dennis being led away in handcuffs. Walsh follows 2 minutes later, refusing to make eye contact. But as the federal vehicles pull away with my former tormentors, I realize something that makes my stomach clench. Richard Steinberg wasn't here. The school board member with the construction contracts, the man at the center of the financial conspiracy, somehow wasn't caught in this morning's raids. My phone rings. Unknown number. Dr. Chen? This is Richard Steinberg. I think it's time we had a conversation. The phone feels like it weighs 20 pounds in my hand. Richard Steinberg's voice is smooth, controlled, the voice of a man who's been expecting this call. Mr. Steinberg, anything you want to say to me should go through the FBI. Sarah, may I call you Sarah? I think you're misunderstanding the situation. Margaret and Dennis made some poor choices, yes. But you're about to destroy something much bigger than their mistakes. I gesture frantically to Agent Rodriguez, pointing at my phone. He immediately signals to Agent Martinez, who starts setting up recording equipment. What exactly am I destroying, Richard? 17 school districts, Sarah. 17 communities that depend on efficient, cost-effective management. Do you know how many jobs will disappear if this investigation expands? How many teachers will lose their positions when the state cuts funding to districts under federal investigation? The manipulation is breathtaking. He's trying to make me feel guilty for exposing corruption. Children were injured because of your cost-cutting schemes. 3 children had minor injuries from an unfortunate accident. But your crusade is going to harm thousands of students across the region. His voice hardens slightly. I'm offering you a chance to be reasonable. Agent Rodriguez hands me a note, keep him talking. We're tracing the call. What kind of reasonable, Richard? The kind where you acknowledge that Margaret acted without board knowledge, Dennis exceeded his authority, and the system worked exactly as designed, bad actors were caught and removed. Case closed. Except for your $2.3 million in fraudulent contracts. There's a pause. When Steinberg speaks again, his voice is colder. Those contracts were competitively bid and properly executed. Any suggestion otherwise is actionable defamation. Competitively bid? I pull out Mike Patterson's documentation. Your company submitted bids that were 300% higher than market rate, then subcontracted the work to cheaper firms and pocketed the difference. That's standard industry practice. Perfectly legal. Agent Martinez slides me another note. He's at the district office. Units moving in now. Richard, where are you right now? That's not relevant. What's relevant is that you have a choice to make. Walk away from this federal circus, take a generous settlement, and let the healing begin. Or watch me destroy your reputation so thoroughly that you'll never work in education again. My laugh surprises even me. My reputation? Richard, you're about to be arrested for federal racketeering charges. What exactly are you going to do to my reputation from prison? Prison? He actually chuckles. Sarah, I've been in construction and municipal contracts for 30 years. Every invoice, every bid, every payment has been reviewed and approved by teams of lawyers and accountants. I don't go to prison, I pay fines and retire to Florida. The arrogance is stunning. He genuinely believes he's untouchable. But you, Sarah? You're the principal who ignored safety hazards and endangered children. That's the story I'll tell. That's the story my lawyers will sell to every news outlet from here to Chicago. My phone buzzes with an incoming text from Agent Rodriguez. He's destroying files right now. Keep talking for 90 more seconds. Richard, even if you discredit me, you can't discredit Patricia Williams, Monica Santos, Karen Liu, and all the other principals who documented the same patterns. Watch me. Disgruntled employees making false accusations after being disciplined for poor performance. It's a classic pattern. What about the parents? Emma Rodriguez's family? The civil rights attorneys? The federal investigators? For the first time, Steinberg's voice wavers slightly. Parents get emotional. Lawyers see dollar signs. Federal agents need to justify their budgets with high-profile cases. None of that changes the facts. Through the office window, I see Mrs. Patterson hanging up her desk phone with a grim smile. She gives me a thumbs up and mouths, Janet got the records. Richard, what facts are those? The fact that you're about to find out what happens when you go to war with people who have real power in the state. The line goes dead. 30 seconds later, Agent Rodriguez's radio crackles, suspect in custody. Recovered 17 boxes of shredded documents and multiple hard drives in various stages of destruction. But as I watch the agents celebrating their successful raid, my stomach is churning with a different kind of dread. Steinberg's threat wasn't empty bluster, it was a promise. And men like him don't make promises they can't keep. My phone starts ringing again. This time it's a number I recognize, Channel 7 News. Dr. Chen, this is Marcus Webb with Channel 7. We've received some disturbing information about your handling of safety issues at Millbrook Elementary. Would you like to comment? It's starting. Steinberg's counterattack is already in motion. The Channel 7 reporter's question hangs in the air like a loaded weapon. Through the office window, I can see Agent Rodriguez frowning as he watches me handle what's obviously a hostile call. Mr. Webb, what specific information are you referring to? We have documentation showing you were aware of structural issues in your building for over 8 months but failed to take appropriate emergency action. Our sources indicate you prioritized budget concerns over student safety. My blood turns to ice. Steinberg's people work fast. Mr. Webb, who provided you with this documentation? I'm not at liberty to reveal sources. But we have emails showing you agreed to delay repairs until after the November funding cycle to avoid budget overruns. Those emails don't exist because I never sent them. But in the court of public opinion, the accusation is enough to plant seeds of doubt. Mr. Webb, any emails you received are fabricated. I have extensive documentation proving. Dr. Chen, we also have a statement from a former district employee who says you created a hostile work environment and ignored safety protocols when they conflicted with your personal agenda. Former district employee. Has to be someone Dennis or Walsh got to before their arrests. Someone willing to lie for money or immunity. I'm not commenting further without my attorney present. I hang up and immediately dial Robert Kim's number. He answers before the first ring finishes. Dr. Chen, I've been expecting your call. Channel 7 story goes live in 30 minutes. We need to get ahead of this. Robert, they're claiming I ignored safety issues for budget reasons. They have fake documentation and a mystery witness. The documentation is easy to disprove. We have your real communications timestamped and authenticated. The witness is trickier. My guess is they got to Barry Hendricks. Who's Barry Hendricks? Maintenance worker Dennis fired 6 months ago for falsifying timesheets. He's been trying to get his job back ever since. Perfect target for Steinberg's people. Agent Rodriguez appears in my doorway, holding his phone with a grim expression. Dr. Chen, we have a problem. Channel 7 just sent the FBI a formal request for comment on their allegations against you. They're treating you as a potential co-conspirator. The room spins slightly. Co-conspirator in what? Conspiracy to defraud the federal government. They're claiming you participated in the embezzlement scheme to fund building improvements without proper oversight. My legs give out and I sink into my desk chair. That's insane. I was fighting for building improvements, not against them. We know that. But Steinberg's lawyers are arguing that your repeated safety requests were part of an elaborate scheme to justify inflated repair contracts. They're saying you and Dennis were working together. Robert Kim's voice crackles through my phone speaker. Agent Rodriguez, this is textbook Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Classic defense strategy for powerful defendants. Mrs. Patterson appears in my doorway, her face pale. Dr. Chen, there's a problem with the morning news setup. Channel 9 just canceled Rebecca Martinez's follow-up interview. Their station manager said they received credible information about your involvement in the corruption. The systematic nature of this counterattack is terrifying. In less than 2 hours, Steinberg's team has planted stories with multiple news outlets, manufactured fake evidence, and convinced a federal investigation to treat me as a potential suspect rather than a whistleblower. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Check your district email account. Now. Friend inside. I log into my computer and navigate to my district email. There, sent from my account at 3:47 a.m. this morning, while I was sitting in a federal courthouse, is an email to Dennis Kowalski. Dennis, we need to discuss the November timeline. If we can delay the Roosevelt repairs another month, the savings will cover the shortfall from our Pinnacle arrangements. Margaret is getting nervous about the documentation trail, so let's meet tomorrow to align our stories. Delete this after reading. Sarah. I stare at the screen in horror. Someone with administrative access to the email system sent this from my account, creating evidence of conspiracy that never existed. Agent Rodriguez, I whisper, pointing at my screen. Someone hacked my district email and manufactured evidence of conspiracy. He leans over my shoulder and reads the message, his face darkening. This was sent while you were in federal custody, giving your statement. We have timestamp security footage proving you couldn't have sent this. But will that matter? The damage is already done. My phone starts ringing again. Channel 12 News. I let it go to voicemail. Then Channel 5. Then the Tribune. Then 3 numbers I don't recognize. Mrs. Patterson's desk phone is ringing nonstop. Parents wanting answers. School board members demanding statements. District employees asking if they still have jobs. Agent Rodriguez gets a call on his radio. Agent Rodriguez, Channel 7 story just went live. You need to see this. Mrs. Patterson turns on the small TV in my office. Marcus Webb's perfectly coiffed head fills the screen. Good morning. I'm Marcus Webb with a Channel 7 exclusive investigation into corruption at Millbrook Elementary School, where federal agents arrested 2 district officials this morning. But our investigation reveals the scandal may run deeper than initially reported. The screen cuts to a photo of me from last year's Principal of the Year ceremony, but with the caption, Dr. Sarah Chen under federal investigation. My stomach drops into my shoes. They're not just attacking my credibility, they're destroying my life on live television. According to documents obtained by Channel 7, Dr. Chen may have been a willing participant in the embezzlement scheme that federal agents uncovered this morning. The war just escalated, and I'm losing before I even knew we were fighting. The Channel 7 broadcast plays like a nightmare I can't wake up from. Marcus Webb's voice drones on while my professional headshot remains frozen on screen with that damning caption. Agent Rodriguez is furiously typing on his phone while Mrs. Patterson clutches my arm like I'm about to disappear. Internal emails suggest Dr. Chen coordinated with facilities manager Dennis Kowalski to inflate repair costs, then delay actual work to maximize profit margins for preferred contractors. Turn it off, I whisper, but Mrs. Patterson is transfixed by the horror show. Webb continues. Barry Hendricks, a former maintenance employee, tells Channel 7 that Drive Chen specifically requested him to document unnecessary repairs that were never completed. Hendricks says he was fired when he refused to participate in what he calls a systematic fraud operation. The camera cuts to a man I vaguely recognize, thin face, nervous eyes, sitting in shadow like a mob informant. Barry Hendricks, the timesheet falsifier Robert Kim mentioned. His voice wavers as he speaks. Dr. Chen would walk through the building with me, pointing out things that didn't need fixing, telling me to write them up as urgent repairs. When I said the work wasn't necessary, she told me my job depended on following orders. I'm on my feet, shouting at the television. That never happened. I've spoken to Barry Hendricks exactly twice in 6 years. But the damage cascades across the screen. Webb introduces exclusive documentation showing my email correspondence with Dennis about managing repair timelines for optimal budget impact. The fabricated emails from this morning, presented as legitimate evidence. My phone buzzes with an incoming call from Superintendent Walsh's personal number. Impossible, she's in federal custody. Don't answer that, Agent Rodriguez warns, but I'm already hitting speaker. Dr. Chen? Not Walsh's voice, her assistant, Linda Park. Linda, thank God. I'm calling from Margaret's phone because mine's been confiscated. You need to know they're planning something bigger. Linda, where are you? Still at the district office. The lawyers showed up an hour ago, not public defenders, expensive private attorneys from Chicago. They've been in Richard's office since 6 a.m., and I heard them talking about Operation Redirect. Agent Rodriguez grabs my phone. Ma'am, this is Agent Rodriguez, FBI. What exactly did you hear? They're planning to frame Dr. Chen as the mastermind. Richard's lawyer kept saying something about flipping the narrative and making her the primary defendant instead of a witness. Linda's voice drops to a whisper. They have someone inside the FBI investigation feeding them information. The room goes dead silent. Agent Rodriguez's face turns stone cold. Ma'am, that's a very serious accusation. I know what I heard. They knew about the search warrants 12 hours before you executed them. Richard had time to shred documents because someone told him you were coming. My hands start shaking again. A federal leak means Steinberg's tentacles reach further than any of us imagined. Agent Rodriguez steps away, speaking rapidly into his radio about potential security breach and compartmentalized information protocols. Mrs. Patterson mutes the television and grabs my shoulders. Sarah, listen to me. I've worked in this district for 28 years. I've seen corrupt administrators, negligent board members, and plenty of cover-ups. But I've never seen anything like the systematic attack they're mounting against you. Mrs. Patterson. No, listen. They're scared. Really scared. You don't launch this kind of coordinated destruction unless you're terrified of what someone knows. She pulls out a manila envelope from her desk drawer. Which is why I made copies of everything before the FBI arrived. Including things they didn't ask for. She opens the envelope and spreads out documents I've never seen before. Purchase orders for security system upgrades that were never installed. Contracts for roof repairs that were never completed. Invoice after invoice for phantom work, but all bearing my electronic signature authorization. They've been forging your approval on fraudulent contracts for 2 years, Mrs. Patterson says quietly. Every single one of these represents federal money stolen using your name and credentials. The scope of the setup is breathtaking. They haven't just been embezzling money, they've been systematically framing me as an accomplice since 2022. Agent Rodriguez returns, his face grim. Dr. Chen, we're moving you to a secure location immediately. If there's a leak in our investigation, your safety could be compromised. My safety? Dr. Chen, you're now the star witness in a federal racketeering case potentially worth $50 million in fraudulent contracts. People have been killed for less. As if summoned by his words, my phone rings again. Unknown number with a local area code. Dr. Chen, this is Detective Morrison with Millbrook PD. We have a situation at your residence. Someone broke in overnight and ransacked the property. We need you here immediately. My house. They went after my house while I was giving testimony to federal agents. The war just became personal. The drive to my house feels like a funeral procession, Agent Rodriguez in the lead car, me in the passenger seat of an unmarked federal vehicle, and Detective Morrison's patrol car bringing up the rear. The October morning that started with vindication and justice now tastes like ash and betrayal. My neighborhood looks normal until we turn onto Maple Street. Then I see the yellow crime scene tape fluttering around my front porch like party streamers at the world's worst celebration. Detective Morrison meets us at my front door, his expression apologetic. Dr. Chen, I'm sorry you have to see this. Whoever did this was looking for something specific. The inside of my house looks like a tornado hit it. Every drawer yanked open, every closet emptied, even the couch cushions sliced open and their stuffing scattered across the living room floor. But it's not random destruction, it's a surgical search. They knew what they were looking for, I whisper, stepping carefully through the debris. Agent Rodriguez examines the overturned bookshelf in my home office. Dr. Chen, what kind of documents do you keep here? Anything related to the district? Just my personal copies of, I stop mid-sentence, staring at the empty file cabinet in the corner. My backup files. Everything I've been collecting for 8 months. They're gone. The manila folders that contained my photographed maintenance requests, my documented phone calls, my time-stamped emails, my entire insurance policy against exactly this kind of character assassination. Whoever broke in knew precisely where to look. Detective Morrison holds up a fragment of paper. Found this in your kitchen trash. Looks like part of a school district invoice. I examine the torn paper. It's a piece of one of the fraudulent invoices Mrs. Patterson showed me this morning, the ones with my forged signature. But I never brought those home. I never even touched the originals. Detective Morrison, Agent Rodriguez says carefully, when was this break-in reported? Anonymous tip came in at 4:23 a.m. Caller said they heard glass breaking and saw flashlights inside the house. 4:23 a.m. Right in the middle of the federal raids, when I was giving testimony at the courthouse. The timing is too perfect to be coincidental. My phone buzzes with a text from Mrs. Patterson. Sarah, get to the school now. Janet found something in Walsh's office that changes everything. Agent Rodriguez reads over my shoulder and nods. We're heading back. Detective Morrison, please secure the scene and dust for prints, but I suspect our perpetrators were professionals. The drive back to Millbrook Elementary takes 7 minutes that feel like 7 hours. My mind is racing through the implications of the break-in. They didn't just steal my documentation, they planted evidence. The torn invoice in my trash, the fabricated emails, the forged signatures on contracts I never saw. Steinberg's people aren't just destroying my reputation, they're building a federal case against me. When we pull into the school parking lot, I see Janet Morrison standing by the main entrance holding a cardboard box and looking like she's seen a ghost. Dr. Chen, she calls out before I'm even out of the car, you need to see what was hidden behind Walsh's safe. She kept a second set of books, the real ones. Agent Rodriguez takes the box and opens it carefully. Inside are ledgers, computer drives, and what appears to be a detailed accounting of every fraudulent transaction dating back to 2018. But it's the manila folder on top that makes my heart stop. The tab reads, Operation Clean House, Phase 3, Chen Elimination. Inside the folder is a detailed timeline spanning 12 months. February 2023, begin documenting Chen's overreactions to maintenance issues. March 2023, escalate dismissive language to establish pattern of gender bias. October 2023, execute safety incident, ensure Chen appears negligent. Execute safety incident. They didn't just ignore my warnings about the staircase railing, they deliberately caused those children to get hurt to frame me for negligence. Emma Rodriguez didn't fall because of budget constraints or bureaucratic incompetence. She fell because Richard Steinberg needed a scapegoat, and 3 second graders were acceptable collateral damage in his war against accountability. Agent Rodriguez reads the timeline over my shoulder, his jaw tightening with each entry. Dr. Chen, this is evidence of criminal conspiracy to commit assault. They deliberately endangered children. The final entry in the folder is dated yesterday, Chen federal testimony successful. Initiate Phase 4, complete character destruction and criminal charges. Phase 4 is already in motion. The media attacks, the planted evidence, the break-in at my house, all planned months in advance. But as I stare at Margaret Walsh's meticulous documentation of her own conspiracy, I realize she made one crucial mistake. She kept records of everything. By 3:47 p.m., my kitchen table looks like a command center for a federal investigation. Janet Morrison's discovery of Walsh's Operation Clean House files has transformed everything from defensive damage control into a full-scale counteroffensive. Robert Kim sits across from me, his laptop open to what he calls our nuclear option, while Agent Rodriguez coordinates with the DOJ task force from my living room. Sarah, Walsh's documentation is a prosecutor's dream, Robert says, scrolling through the timeline. She literally planned a conspiracy to injure children and frame you for it. But there's something else in these files that changes the entire scope. He turns his laptop toward me. On the screen is a spreadsheet labeled Regional Implementation, Clean House Protocol. My blood runs cold as I see familiar names listed in columns. Patricia Williams at Roosevelt High, Monica Santos at Jefferson Middle, Karen Liu from Fairfield District. 15 female principals across 3 counties, all marked for elimination using identical tactics. This wasn't just about me, I whisper. They've been systematically removing female administrators who challenge their corruption. It gets worse. Robert clicks to another tab. Look at the replacement candidates. Every principal marked for elimination has been replaced by or is scheduled to be replaced by men with connections to Steinberg's construction company or Walsh's consulting network. The pattern is unmistakable. Remove competent women who ask inconvenient questions. Install compliant men who approve fraudulent contracts. Agent Rodriguez enters the kitchen, ending a phone call. Dr. Chen, the task force just arrested Margaret Walsh's assistant Linda Park. My stomach drops. Linda? But she's the one who warned us about the leak. That's exactly why they arrested her. Walsh is claiming Linda fabricated the Clean House documents to frame her boss and protect you. Linda's been charged with obstruction of justice and tampering with federal evidence. The manipulation is breathtaking. They're flipping every piece of evidence, every witness, every revelation into another weapon against the people trying to expose the truth. My phone rings. Rebecca Martinez from Channel 9. Dr. Chen, I'm calling with a heads up. Channel 7 is about to run a follow-up story claiming you and Linda Park orchestrated an elaborate hoax to cover up your embezzlement activities. They have a handwriting expert who says the Clean House documents are forgeries. Rebecca, those documents came from Walsh's personal safe. I know. And I believe you. But they're winning the media war while we're fighting with facts and evidence. Public opinion is shifting against you. She's right. I can see it in my phone notifications, dozens of missed calls from reporters, angry voicemails from parents, text messages from teacher friends expressing disappointment and concern. The court of public opinion moves faster than federal investigations, and Steinberg's narrative is gaining momentum. Robert Kim closes his laptop with a decisive snap. Sarah, we're accelerating our timeline. Tomorrow morning, we're holding a press conference with all 15 targeted principals. Patricia Williams flew in from Roosevelt, Monica Santos drove up from Jefferson, and Karen Liu is taking the red eye from California. What about the media narrative? Steinberg's people will be blindsided by 15 women with identical stories of systematic harassment and retaliation. Walsh kept documentation for all of them, repair requests ignored, safety concerns dismissed as female hysteria, fraudulent contracts signed in their names without authorization. Agent Rodriguez nods approvingly. The DOJ is coordinating arrests across 3 states tomorrow at 8 a.m. 47 defendants including school board members, construction company executives, and district administrators. This is officially the largest educational corruption case in federal history. My phone buzzes with a text from Mrs. Patterson. Sarah, emergency. Dennis Kowalski just recanted his testimony. His lawyer says he was coerced. They're releasing him tonight. The bottom falls out of my stomach. Dennis was our star witness, the insider who documented Walsh's orders and Steinberg's financial schemes. Without his testimony, the prosecution's case becomes exponentially more difficult. Agent Rodriguez, I say, showing him the text, what happens if Dennis flips? His face hardens. Then tomorrow's press conference becomes the most important hour of your life. The press conference podium feels like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, but I'm not alone. 15 women principals stand behind me in a line that stretches across the Millbrook Elementary Gymnasium, each one representing a district where corruption masqueraded as cost-cutting and misogyny disguised itself as management. It's 8:47 a.m. on October 31st, Halloween, appropriately enough, and the gymnasium is packed with reporters, parents, federal agents, and 3 news helicopters circling overhead. Agent Rodriguez stands by the exit doors, and I can see him checking his phone every 30 seconds for updates on the coordinated arrests happening across 3 states right now. Rebecca Martinez gives me a thumbs up from the front row as I step to the microphone. My name is Dr. Sarah Chen, and 12 days ago, 3 second-grade children fell down a staircase at this school because a $847 repair was deliberately delayed for 8 months. What you're about to hear is the story of how that accident was actually the culmination of a systematic conspiracy to remove female administrators who threatened a multi-million-dollar embezzlement operation. I pause as camera flashes explode across the room. Behind me, Patricia Williams steps forward. I'm Dr. Patricia Williams, principal of Roosevelt High School. For 3 years, I documented safety violations while being told my concerns were menopausal overreactions. Yesterday, federal agents recovered invoices totaling $2.8 million for repairs to my building that were never completed, all bearing my forged signature. Monica Santos is next, Jefferson Middle School. $1.9 million in fraudulent contracts. When I reported a gas leak in our science lab, I was told I was being typically female and emotional. The leak wasn't repaired for 4 months because fixing it would have interfered with the budget manipulation schedule. One by one, each woman steps forward with her numbers, her documentation, her identical story of being systematically silenced, dismissed, and framed. The pattern becomes undeniable, $47 million in fraudulent contracts across 15 districts, all enabled by removing competent female oversight and replacing it with compliant male administrators. Karen Liu delivers the knockout punch. Operation Clean House wasn't just about stealing money. The real goal was to establish a network of corrupt districts where federal education funds could be siphoned indefinitely. We were obstacles to be eliminated, and our students were acceptable casualties. My phone buzzes with a text from Agent Rodriguez. Steinberg arrested. Walsh attempting to flee. Dennis back in custody. I step back to the microphone. At 8:43 this morning, federal agents arrested Richard Steinberg, 12 school board members, and 32 contractors and administrators across Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. The total fraud amount exceeds $50 million in stolen federal funds meant to educate children in low-income communities. A reporter from the Tribune stands up. Dr. Chen, what about allegations that you participated in these schemes? Every single fraudulent document bearing my name or signature has been proven to be a forgery. The FBI's forensic accounting team confirmed that I never authorized, received payment from, or benefited from any fraudulent contract. In fact, the conspiracy specifically targeted me because my legitimate safety requests were interfering with their ability to justify phantom repairs. Rebecca Martinez raises her hand. What's the current status of the 3 injured children? For the first time, my voice wavers slightly. Emma Rodriguez returned to school yesterday with a cast she'll wear for 6 more weeks. Marcus Thompson starts physical therapy next month for nerve damage in his left arm. Zoe Kim still has nightmares about falling downstairs. I pause, looking directly into the Channel 7 camera. These children were hurt because adults chose money over safety. That ends today. Agent Rodriguez appears at my elbow, holding his phone with a grim smile. Dr. Chen, Margaret Walsh was arrested at O'Hare Airport attempting to board a flight to the Cayman Islands with $400,000 in cash and falsified identity documents. Dennis Kowalski's recantation has been determined to be the result of witness intimidation, also a federal crime. The questions from reporters continue for another 30 minutes, but the real victory is in the emails flooding my phone. Principals from across the Midwest, teachers documenting similar patterns in their districts, parents demanding accountability from their school boards. By noon, the Illinois State Board of Education announces emergency oversight for all districts involved in the conspiracy. By 3 p.m., the FBI establishes a hotline for education corruption reporting. By evening, Congress announces hearings on federal oversight of education funding. 3 months later, I'm back in my office at Millbrook Elementary, but everything has changed. The new district administration consists entirely of education professionals with no financial ties to construction companies. Every maintenance request is handled within 48 hours. The $6.3 million in recovered fraudulent funds has been used to hire additional teachers, upgrade safety systems, and establish an independent oversight committee with parent representation. Emma Rodriguez stops by my office every Friday afternoon to show me her artwork. She's learned to draw beautifully with her left hand and says her right hand is getting stronger every day. The staircase railing is now solid steel anchored with industrial-grade bolts that could probably support a small truck. Dennis Kowalski was sentenced to 7 years for embezzlement and conspiracy. Margaret Walsh received 12 years for racketeering and witness tampering. Richard Steinberg got 15 years and was ordered to pay $23 million in restitution. But the real victory is in my email this morning from Dr. Jennifer Parks, the newly appointed principal at Jefferson Middle School. Dr. Chen, I submitted my first maintenance request yesterday for a leaky roof in the library. It was approved within 2 hours and completed by this afternoon. Thank you for making this possible. Sometimes the most devastating tragedies aren't natural disasters or unforeseeable accidents. Sometimes they're the entirely preventable consequences of adults who choose profit over children, power over safety, and corruption over conscience. But sometimes, just sometimes, ordinary people find the courage to say enough and fight back against systems designed to silence them. The staircase railing at Millbrook Elementary will never break again. And neither will I.